One of my favorite videos that I've ever made was on a previous version of this very smartphone. It was partially because I was in Japan at the time, but mostly it was because it was a great example of what can be achieved when a phone gets back to basics. Basics that we don't see very often anymore. Well, here I am again in Japan years later, and in my hand is a Pixel A series smartphone. But things have changed over the years, and now Google's more affordable version of their Pixels are more capable and practical than ever. So let's enjoy some days out in Osaka and Kyoto to find out. Hey, it's Joshua Vergara. What's going on, everybody? Here's a real-world camera test on the Pixel 8a. A quick shout out to Google for sending me the Pixel 8a to try out and to talk about in my content. Also, this is a real-world camera test and not a day one video because, well, let's face it, traveling out to Osaka ended up taking so much of my time that a day one video just didn't make sense anymore. With all of that said, I'm going to be sharing a lot of photos and videos straight from the Pixel 8a while chiming in from time to time right here in my tatami workplace that's in my hotel here in Kyoto. Alright, so I was in Osaka for the Lumix Summit, but I brought the Pixel 8a with me to use as a daily driver as well. It's easy to reach for a Pixel A series when all you want is a phone that works and isn't too difficult to maneuver when things like transit cards and vending machine drinks are constantly at hand. That's what made my time with the previous Pixels in this lineup so enjoyable. The fact that it was smaller and easier to use in one hand than almost any other smartphone, making it easier to, well, multitask. That's all different with the recent phones and now the current Pixel 8a, however. It's not hard to see it right away. The Pixel 8a is basically the same size as the regular Pixel 8 from a number of months ago. Gone are the days of shrinking down devices, and now it's all about shrinking down the premium in key portions of the design and hardware. Now that isn't to say the Pixel 8a is a cheap feeling phone. On the contrary, it's a lovely feeling phone because of the matted backing and a rounded out shape. It'll be very subjective whether or not these aspects make this phone enjoyable to look at and to feel, but I think most people can appreciate a fingerprint resistant backing. Now I did go for the new color due to how fresh it is, but Google also hooked me up with a porcelain color of their soft case that I have been using a lot to maintain a good grip. Thankfully, the Pixel 8a retains a good water and dust resistance rating at IP67. Another aspect of the phone that might irk some people, the thick bezel that is around the display. It is the compromising detail to what is otherwise the same display in the flagship Pixel 8, which is an OLED display at Full HD Plus resolution capable of 120Hz refresh rate. It's at this point that I do have to level with you. No matter what games and media you might be viewing on here, things will look good. But I personally don't touch any super intensive games really much anymore, so showing off the 120Hz refresh rate won't be very common in my videos moving forward. Now clearly with all of the night photography that you're seeing in this camera test, I've been out late most evenings. My sleep could be better, and that's where the sponsor of this video comes in. Thanks to Soundcore for sponsoring this video and letting me try out their new sleep earbuds. These are the Soundcore Sleep A20, your best sleeping partner. I'm really going to need them to get some better sleep while on my trip. Sleep earbuds cover a number of different aspects to a better night's rest, and the Sleep A20 managed to be super comfortable while being great for audio throughout the night if that's what you need to get some Z's. First off, they're delightfully light, and these are very minimal earbuds that include soft ear tips and these wings to help keep the buds in no matter how much I might be tossing and turning during the night. They're minimal enough to remain comfortable even when I'm lying on my side. That's right, side sleepers get to keep Bluetooth audio or sleep sounds going all night with a pressure-free experience thanks to a 3D ergonomic design and the super light air wings. The twin seal ear tips provide 3 times stronger passive noise blocking, while the software features provide blocking of external noise and even masking of the sound of snoring if that happens to be around you. And I just mentioned it, yeah, these are Bluetooth earbuds, so you can curate your own music or podcasts or anything that you like to listen to for falling asleep, all without disturbing someone that you might be with. The app is robust as well, providing sleep data after your night's rest given all of the sensors that are inside of these earbuds. And it also does smart switch switching from Bluetooth audio to the soothing sleep sounds that can go all night, because the Sleep 820 can go for 10 hours in Bluetooth or 14 hours playing sleep sounds that are built into the earbuds. If an earbud does fall out for whatever reason, the Find Device function sounds a chime so that you can find it again pretty easily. My favorite feature though is the personal alarm. If you've ever slept past your phone alarm in the morning, the Sleep 820 puts one right in your ears and makes it just for you, so no one else has to be disturbed when it's time to wake up. I'm definitely using the soundcore Sleep 820 regularly now to get my YouTube videos playing in the background as I go to bed, and it's become an important part to my sleep routine. The soundcore Sleep 820 is available now in the links found in the description and in the pinned comment below, and it can be a great addition to your sleep. Thanks again to Soundcore for sending me a pair of the Sleep 820 earbuds and for sponsoring this video. Now clearly, despite this being a real-world camera test, we are still dealing with a Pixel device. That is to say, Google's software and the Tensor G3 processor are doing the lion's share of the work to make this a really reliable picture-taking experience, even if the hardware of the cameras is pretty much the same as before. Now, to be fair, video capture is still decent. Stabilization on both the main and ultra-wide cameras make it a good set for getting smooth footage in good lighting. The ultra-wide camera falls apart a bit easily in lower light situations, but that is kind of expected. Now it's time for a nice night out in Osaka. Running around in the middle of the night with some highballs in hand, this is the way to do it. Here's the thing though. Pixel 8a, it does some pretty good video, 4K across all of the lenses and whatnot, but it's in these moments, low light situations, that the processing of the Pixel is where it's at. You're able to get some great night shots with this, and here are some examples. I do have to give it up for this user interface, making way more sense now since the Pixel 8. The video and photo modes are now properly segmented, and there are dedicated sliders for exposure, highlights, and shadows to make quick work of dialing in the settings before hitting the shutter button. In video, this slider is simply an exposure compensation slider, which is ultimately okay if a little simplistic. I do wish that it had numerical values and that it would stick to where I put it even if I move away from the movie mode, but it's a step in the right direction overall. If you're coming from the Pixel 7a, it won't seem like too much of an improvement in the raw sense, but then again, the Pixel 8a is now bringing all of the tools that make those raw captures quite the playground. The Tensor G3 and Google's processing manifest in a number of editing features that are all found in Google Photos, including Best Take for getting everyone smiling properly from a slew of group photos, Photo Unblur and Portrait Light, and then the one that I think most people will use the most, Magic Editor. In fact, a visit to Kyoto made for one of the best examples of how the Magic Editor and its erasing abilities make sense for fixing captured memories. You see, Kyoto is an absolute cluster of a destination right now, with way too many people trying to speedrun destinations like Arashiyama Bamboo Forest and the Kiyomizu-dera. And while erasing a ton of people from a photo might be too much of a task for the Magic Editor, the few times that you can get a picture with maybe just a few bodies or objects in the frame could yield a perfectly usable social media post after you take the eraser to it. The result is one of the only phones that is capable of making these scenarios easier to capture, both in the way pixels process colors and contrast, and in how the editor can literally fix images taken in less than ideal situations. So it's a great photo assistant in multiple ways, making the Pixel 8a quite the appealing prospect for people who want a good Android phone that just works and has a good camera system for less. The only thing that would be missing from this camera package would be a zoom lens. I find myself constantly wanting to get closer, farther, have more range with the lenses, but you only get the main, which is already pretty wide, and then the ultra wide, so you're gonna have to just contend with those sort of shots. Otherwise, if you want to get really far down and get some dramatic looking shots with some really good bokeh, that's just not something you'll be able to do on here. You'll get more of that experience on the Pixel 8 Pro, and perhaps that's the reason why they designate that phone as the Pro device. But what makes a Pixel is more than camera deep. It is also an apparatus for all of the ways Google is trying to be helpful. That comes down to features that you're probably really familiar with. Google Assistant, apps like Maps, deeper features like Google Translate. That one obviously has come in handy during my current trip abroad. Google Assistant searches can go right into Google Maps, and it has gotten me from point A to point B with consistent and reliable success, with glanceable directions in maps making it so that I don't have to go fully into navigation apps to see where I'm going. And finally, there's Circle to Search, the newest addition to the straight-up assistant experience that I feel could get a lot of usage from pretty much anyone. Do you ever look through an Instagram feed and you see the name of a place that you want to visit? Well, you just hold the home bar and the whole screen becomes searchable. Just tapping the name of a restaurant in Tokyo that I want to try next week brings up an immediate Google search that provides access to any and all information that I might need. It doesn't work with literally everything, and that's by design, obviously, but for basically anything that I want during my days in Japan, Circle to Search feels like the culmination of what Google really wants the Pixel to be outside of just the two eyeballs over here on the back. Now, if I do a follow-up video on what worked and what didn't with the Pixel 8a, I'll probably go a little bit deeper into the assistant and various AI features, but at the end of the day, when you find the tools that work perfectly well for your needs on the daily, well, that's all that matters, right? And that's how the Pixel 8a manages to continue the streak of A-series phones providing a great experience without needing a huge price tag. While the Pixel 8 flagship phone could be found for prices close to what this Pixel 8a goes at for launch right now, I think that the 8a is still a decent value compared to the more premium siblings. Not to mention, when the Pixel 8a goes on sale, well, that'll make this an even better value prospect. And as always, each new Pixel is a proving ground for Google's latest software and now AI aspirations, with the 8a managing to make everything that was introduced in the flagship phones a little more accessible if you haven't bought into them just yet. So with all of that said, let me know what you think of the Pixel 8a and if you're going to get one in the comments below. Also, as this is a real-world camera test, let me know what you thought of the photos and videos coming from here. If they're actually different from the Pixel 7a that you might be using right now, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Once again, thanks to Google for sending me the Pixel 8a to try and to use during my trip. Shouts out one more time to Soundcore for sponsoring this video with their new sleep earbuds. Remember to check out the Soundcore Sleep A20, your best sleeping partner, in the links in the description below as well. Well, with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and call it on this one. Thank you so much for kicking it with me today, and I hope you enjoyed all my pictures and posts from Japan so far. Please take care of yourselves and each other, and enjoy your tea, everybody. This is barley tea from one of the many vending machines here in Japan. Awesome stuff.